Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Today we're going to be doing a really quick overview of the behind closed doors campaign missions for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and also Modern Warfare Remastered that I saw at E3 2016. I'll be posting a much longer overview of these as well. It'll be like 30 minutes long pretty much, and I'll go into super duper detail of exactly what happened and walk you through all the areas, but for now, I'm going to focus on the important points and the interesting stuff, in my opinion, that I think you guys should hear about from the gameplay that I saw behind closed doors. Now, I want to say first of all that there was no capture opportunity, there was no gameplay available, none of that, so I'm literally just going on the stuff that I saw. It was a roughly 15-minute demo, so 5 minutes for the first campaign mission from Infinite Warfare, 5 minutes from the second campaign mission from Infinite Warfare, and then 5 minutes for the Modern Warfare Remastered mission, and they showed the mission right from the start of the CoD 4 campaign when you're on the boat and you go in and there's the manifesto, that one. So without further ado, let's begin. You're working your way through the winding streets of Geneva. There's cobbled floors and tall concrete buildings around you, and a ship crashes overhead, and the reason for that is that there's just been a large-scale invasion carried out by SetDef, and you're working to fight against that and repel them. So you work your way through the streets. There's one area, for example, with a fountain, and in that area you chuck a grenade. It's like this little yellow pod. You go plink, you throw it out, and then the player pulls out this spider drone in their other hand. It wiggles its little legs in the air, looks super duper cool. The player then places it down, the spider drone scurries off, finds an enemy, runs up them, and explodes, and the enemy obviously gets taken out, so that was really cool. There was also a new shotgun that they showed off in that area, so with that shotgun, it's got this rectangular sight, and in that sight there are all these dots, and what happens is if you aim down sight for maybe like a second, those dots actually align with the enemy's body, and so every single bit of damage output that the gun possibly could have is all focused onto the enemy, rather than being like a circular radius or just like a spread or something like that. It's all focused on wherever those dots are. So that was really cool. The player then keeps pushing through. They eventually get into this cellar area, and then when they come out of the cellar, there's this big tower in front of them. They push up towards the tower. There are these flags, and you run through, and there's explosions, and it looks really cool. Proper Michael Bay Call of Duty moment. So that was a pretty cool little area. And as you're pushing through, you actually pull your arm up, and you hack a robot. So what happens is, you pull your arm up, everything goes black and white, you see a robot in a ship in the distance, a little reticle comes up around it, you hack the robot, and then you're suddenly inside the robot's view. You can see from out of its eyes. Do robots have eyes? Whatever the robot's seeing, you can see, and you self-destruct it, so the entire ship goes boom. So that was a really cool moment as well. You keep pushing up the hill then, and you pull your arm up again, and you actually call in one of the jets that's in the area. There are these jets flying around in the air alongside all the big spaceships and stuff that are floating up there as well. One of the jets zooms past, and it does essentially a little strafing run and shoots a load of robots for you. So that's a really cool little thing that they've added in as well, the idea of you pulling your arm up and hacking stuff, or pulling your arm up and getting a little bit of extra fire from one of these jets, and then you jump into your jackal, you fly into space, it's off rails, and then when you get into space, you zip forwards, you're suddenly in the action in this big space battle. There are these skelters, which are like enemy jets essentially that are zipping and zooming around all over the place, and the orientation is constantly changing. So for example, you'll be zooming towards one of these skelters and you're trying to hold L2 to lock onto it and trying to get towards it, but it'll start doing all this weird strafing stuff and barrel rolling, and so you as a player have to do that same stuff. So you're going all over the place, and what was once up is then down, and then side, and it's completely crazy and frenetic gameplay, but it does look really fun. It really reminded me of like the old Battlefront games of zooming around the Star Destroyers and things like that. So that was awesome, and then what happens at that point is you take out all the skelters, you fire on one of the smaller ships, and that goes boom, and then it goes boom, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, yeah! So that is the first campaign mission. The second one you've already seen quite a lot of in the gameplay that I released on my channel a couple of days ago. I did a little reaction to it. It was pretty cool stuff, but I will run through some things that I noticed in it that I saw in the full mission that we saw in the actual demo itself rather than just the trailer. So we've all seen the little shield that you can get on your arm. So you bring your arm up and blink, there's a little shield there. That's on L1. That's one of your special abilities. You can also get anti-gravity grenades. So they are localized anti-gravity grenades. You throw them, and wherever it explodes, whatever the radius of its explosion is, in that area, any enemies are going to start floating into the air and being like, I can't do anything, I can't shoot the player, oh no. So you can take them out super duper easily. Also, another point in the level, because it kind of cut between different areas in this one, so another point in the level, you're in space, you're grappling around, so you use L1 to grapple to stuff. So for example, there's this big curved bit of metal like this. you can either grapple to the edge of it here, or you can grapple to the middle, or you can grapple to the edge. Wherever you want to go, you can grapple to it pretty much by the looks of things, and you can also grapple to enemies as well. So there's one point where the player grapples towards an enemy, knees the enemy in the face, and the enemy starts floating off, and it's just like, oh my goodness, that's gruesome. Another bit where the player grapples to an enemy, attaches a grenade to it, and then pushes it away, and it explodes, and it's just like, hell yeah, gotcha. You've also, on R1, got these sort of seeker grenades. So what they do is you throw them and they go and then explode, and there's like a little EMP effect type thing. So they were pretty cool, and it looks like the way it's going to work is that you'll always have an ability of some sort on L1 and another one on R1. So for example, it could be the grapple and the seeker, and then you get inside and it's a different part of the mission, and you have the shield on L1 and the anti-gravity grenade on the R1. So it seems like that's the approach they're going for. That's pretty much all the cool stuff that we saw in that campaign mission. There was a little bit more dogfighting, a little bit more sort of like depressurization of a room, and then you repressurize it and you start fighting through, and you stab a robot in the back and it's really epic. That sort of stuff was happening as well. But then also, like I said, I saw a Modern Warfare Remastered mission, and I want to give you a really quick little opinion about what I saw for this, because obviously most of you guys have already seen that mission before. You've played CoD 4, you don't need me to recount the events exactly, but what I will do is say the following. When you're first coming out of that helicopter at the start of the mission, you rappel down. What I noticed straight away the first time I watched it is that on the floor, those raindrops that are falling onto the boat itself looked really good. There were raindrops everywhere. That water effect looked fantastic. The waves looked really, really nice. They're crashing into the ship like crazy. There's sort of spray and flume going everywhere, and it looks really great. You push along the ship, you pick up an AK, and oh my goodness, the sound when you pick up the AK and you go click, click, oh my goodness, it's just so nostalgic. So that was really cool. Then there was an in the interest of time bit where they skip forward into the mission, and you get to that area where there's that explosion just after you pick up the manifesto. So for that, what I noticed is that throughout the mission, you've got this fisheye effect on your view, because you're wearing like some kind of like scuba gear or something like that, and so around the edges of your view is kind of distorted slightly, and you're wearing this scuba mask, and what happens is when there's that explosion, you then get a load of scratches on that mask, and you start running through the ship, and it's tilting like crazy. You get out into the open air, and it's raining really heavily, and the actual water as well, because the ship is so tilted, the waves are coming at you like crazy like that, and sort of over the edge, and so you're like, oh my goodness, I gotta get out of here, right? So you then get to the helicopter, and you finish the mission, and it's all great. I must say that I did get a little bit of a vibe of it, feeling like it was maybe a year or maybe 2 years old in terms of graphics, just because there's only so much you can do with a CoD game that you're remastering, right? CoD has never had the most amazingly advanced graphics in the world. It's certainly no Battlefield. Battlefield 1 looks amazing. This looks good. It looks modern. It looks like CoD 4 as if it came out last year, which is great, but it's not quite Battlefield level, so don't get your hopes up quite that high. But it still looks fantastic. I'm not saying it looks bad by any means. I'm just saying have realistic expectations, right? So that has been a very quick blow-by-blow of the 2 Infinite Warfare campaign missions that I saw, and also the Modern Warfare Remastered mission. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. If you want the full rundown of everything that happened in all of those missions, then the long video that I've made that's like 30 minutes long is the one for you, so go watch that. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you have, leave a like, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.